let's talk about another game that people have been complaining about, which I haven't been complaining about. And you know what that one is, don't you, Dave?
Is that Resident Evil?
No. What have people been complaining about Resident Evil, have they, Dave?
Yeah, because there's some immersion breaking moments.
Oh yeah, actually, let's talk about that first. Actually, that wasn't not planned to talk about this, but I do want to talk about that. You're talking about the way that the camera, it takes control of the camera, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's a couple of things here. First of all, let me get the tweet up. Mike from VR
Virtual
Oasis, yeah, he made a post about discomfort. Right, he said, seeing comments like this is worrying. I love PSVR2, but Sony have done nothing to explain to newcomers that jumping straight into something like Resident Evil 8 isn't a good idea. No comfort ratings on the store and no curated list of high quality, comfortable content for beginners. And what he's referencing is this comment, which is, I made the mistake of playing Resident Evil Village as my first ever VR game, played for 2 hours, and I feel like I'm dying. I agree with Mike, 100% here. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because on the Quest, you got comfort ratings on that. You got, yeah. You got intense. You got what's the other one? The yellow one.
Moderate.
That's the one I'm looking for. And then
I don't know what the easy one is. The green one is like comfortable. Maybe.
Yeah, just comfortable. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Because we said that at the end of the review in the
yeah, it's a valid point.
In the really cautions that a lot of new users, they just don't know. Like a lot of people, I was talking to someone on Twitter today who was saying they tried VR but it made them sick. They don't seem to be aware that that's pretty common. It's a pretty common thing. I was sick for 2 weeks when I first got VR, right? I was like really ill. I have got an anxiety disorder which kind of didn't help, but I was really like not feeling well at all. I got motion sick, which I'm not a kind of person who gets motion sick. But VR legs is a thing, and Sony do nothing. I mean, I don't think any VR company does anything to explain like the basics of what you need to know. Because imagine how many people out there, like J1 Huds in chat just said, have sold their headsets because they think that VR makes them sick. They think it's going to be a permanent thing. They don't realise that it's something that you have to acclimatise yourself to, and it takes time. It's called VR legs. It's a thing, and not just that, just other things as well. Like we went over in our review, like lens safety and things like that. Things that they won't tell you. People are gonna ruin their VR. Like people with glasses, they're gonna think it's safe. It's not safe. You've got to be really careful, really careful if you've got glasses. People who like live in sunny countries, who might leave their headset like with the window, you know, next to the window with the sunlight coming through. If that direct sunlight hits your lenses, that's it. Your display is burnt.
Game over.
It's game over. Yeah. Things like that that I think that we need to see more of. Like there needs to be some kind of video which you can, you know, like maybe at the start of when the PSVR2 first turns on. I mean, it's a bit too late now, but not for new users. You could have something that just says like, are you used to VR? Are you not used to VR? And then it would give you like a video if you're not, and it would say, listen, there's like the basics that you need to know to get the best experience and not, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd imagine that sort of stuff may be in the manual that you get with the PSVR2, but who?
It might be. Who reads the manual? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I do. I read manuals sometimes really if I'm on the toilet or whatever. But yeah, at least just comfort ratings in the store is. I think that's bare minimum that they need to do. I mean, because right now they're relying on the community. This is what he says. So Mike also said, I read similar feedback on the PSVR subreddit. Thankfully, the community are on hand to give some great advice. So first of all, it shouldn't be up to the community, because some people don't use community sort of things. They don't use Reddit, or they don't use, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he says, but what about those not on Reddit or posting on Facebook groups? Okay, he's just said that. Do they just give up and think VR isn't for them? Yeah, they do. I think they do. Which is a shame. But where's the thing that he said? Let me just look for it. There's something he said that I just don't agree with. Right, here it is. This guy says Resident Evil 8 plays more like a mod than a native VR game. Resident Evil 4 on Quest has a more polished VR implementation. I don't get VR sick, but with the lack of room scale turning, which, yeah, I can understand that bit, forced perspective in cutscenes and floating disconnected arms is all disorientating. I don't know about the floating arms. I don't imagine how that can make you feel sick as such. I don't know. But the forced perspective thing, I completely don't agree with, for the fact that you can turn it off. It's an option. You can change it so that whenever the camera's going to get taken control of, it will put it in 2D mode. Stereoscopic 3D. You can turn it off. And then Mike, this is the thing that I don't agree with what Mike said. Resident Evil 8 really threw the VR comfort rulebook out the window and then yeeted off a cliff. To which I replied, it's not a rule anymore. It was a rule when no one really acclimatized to VR. No one was really acclimatized to VR. But now, it's no longer a no-go for many users. Which is true. If it was a rule, Dave, that would mean we wouldn't be able to experience the game and enjoy it the way we have been. I love the fact that when I get dragged across the floor, I'm being dragged across the floor. I'm not looking at a fucking screen. If it was a rule, then we wouldn't have that. And it would ruin it for us. It should be an option. And it is an option, right?
Yep.
So...
completely, yeah.
So that's what I think about the rule thing. I really hate that when people say that it's a rule. It was a rule when VR started, because it made people sick, because no one was used to it. No one could really handle it. But now we have VR veterans, right? VR's been going around, it's been around for years. People can handle it. So don't call it a rule. It's not a rule. And then, plus there's an option in Resident Evil 8 to disable stereoscopic 3D in cutscenes. So yeah, there's that. That's what I wanted to go over about Resident Evil and people feeling sick and stuff. I will say though, I don't think the option to turn off stereo 3D, it might be, but I'm not sure if it's in the options menu. I think, because the only time I saw it is when you press options, when the cutscene's actually playing out. Which kind of makes sense, because if you're feeling sick, and why wouldn't you press options? You wouldn't press start and be like, I can't handle this. And then you'll see, it's literally right there, as soon as you press the button, disable stereoscopic. So, yeah, sickness in I think a lot of people are complaining about Resident Evil 8, just haven't found the option that they're looking for. So...